Welcome to a new vlog. It is Saturday, so definitely one of the best nights of the week to come and play. As you see, it's actually dark. Usually when I come, it's daytime. But yeah, just busy with the family, and it works perfectly to make a vlog since I'm gonna be playing about 4 hours, and that's a sweet spot for me for the vlogs because it's still a good amount of content, but it's not overwhelming when I start hitting 6 and more. It's so much video to edit. So we're gonna head in there. Saturday nights, it's lately been really good because there's this one super action player that shows up and they push the cap to 2,000. So a really deep game. Hopefully he's here tonight and we'll find out. So let's just head in there and get going. When we head into the poker room, we notice that it's just a regular 2-5 going on. So forget all that I said. Action player is not there. It looks like it's just the usual 2-5 1K max buy-in as usually is going on over here. But it is full. We are in first in line, but until somebody leaves, we're going to be playing some 1-3. So let's get started in this game that we buy in for 300. That is the max. And as I burn to the first hand, that is King Deuce off. 8-6 suited. We don't have to wait long for a good one. I got pocket jacks and low jack under the 2 limps. So I made $15. You get a cutoff and button to call. Flop. 3-10-5. So always very nice. Getting it over pair to the board. And out of position, I check. Checks to the button, bets $20. And yeah, definitely could go for a check raise here on a pretty dry board. I just think they'll be overfolding a lot. But if I think a 10 is going to call, I should probably still be check raising. I definitely would if there was a flush draw on the board. But anyways, this time I do go for a call. Other player folds. Turn is pretty bad. It's an ace. I check. She checks back. I'm planning to go for a value in the river until the river is a 10. Yeah, so most likely thought she would have had a 10 with top pair on the flop. That is most likely checking a turn on the ace. So I don't think I'm getting value from worst, but I think I'm behind a good amount of time. So I do check, and we see good news when she checks back. I show and see mucks. So definitely a nice start. 8 deuce off, jack 7 off, king 4 off. Now we're in about to with pocket sevens. 5 limpers. I thought it's 4, so I just raised to $30 and they all fold. So I'll take that. This money uncontested, not having to see a flop. That's always very nice. 7-5 suited, ace jack off. I'd raise it up, but someone else does, so I let it go. 8-5 off, pocket deuces in early position. Let's be strict. I let it go. Same thing with jack 9 suited. Looks pretty, but not under the gun. On the big blind, 3-4 off. Not a small blind. King jack off. 3 limpers again, so definitely seems like a table that is liking to limp. So let's raise it up. I'm gonna get $30, and once again, everybody folds. 6-4 off, 5 deuce off, 9-6 suited, 7-5 off, 3-4 off, queen deuce off. Now, I think I'm the big blind, but I'm actually not. I'm under the gun. So in this hand, I limp with 6-4 off, and I do not get to see a flop since someone raises, and I'm not gonna call. I let it go. 3 deuce off. Now really in the big blind, I let it go. 8 deuce off, king 6 off. Now in a hijack with pocket sixes. 2 limpers, and probably should be raising here in this moment. I do decide just to limp behind. Ace high flops, someone bets, I let it go. And that's why you usually should raise, because you don't have to actually hit to be able to win. Being aggressive usually makes more money. Anyways, let's move on. King 5 off. Now we got king 9 suited under the 2, under the limps, $15. They fold. So yeah, pretty much so far just taking blinds pre-flop. But hey, I'll take it because it does add up, and we haven't really had a premium. So don't mind folds with these medium strength hands. 9-3 off, 6 deuce off, 5-3 suited, 7 deuce suited. Now on the button once again, king 9 suited, 2 limpers. So I'm gonna get $20 and only the cutoff calls. Flop, king 5-10. Got a gut shot, and I'm just going to be c-betting range when it checks to me. I'm going to get $20, and we get check raised to 60. And yeah, I do have a gut shot. And maybe thinking back, he's probably check raising with value. So I have my gut shot outs, and if a flush comes in, I could represent that. But in the moment, I didn't know this player, so I didn't know if I could get him to fold even if the flush comes in, if he has value, and I do just have a gut shot. So I do just let it go. King deuce off. Now I got 5-4 suited in hijack, low jack limp, so I'm going to get $15. Get a big line low jack to call. Flop is very promising. In fact, kings, ace, ace, ace. Table gets excited about the bad beat jackpots. It's over $80,000. Little they know that I have 5 high. Anyways, they don't know that. So when it checks to me, let's bet. I'm going to get $10. This is the low jack calls. Turn is a queen. And now, very unlikely that he has an ace. And if he did call with king high, pocket pairs, I think I get most of those to fold if I bet turn and river. Sure, he could have a queen, but it is what it is. Bluffs don't always have to work. And I do think he has more king highs and pocket pairs. I bet $20, and once again he calls. River is a 10. He checks, and this spot I didn't think I had to bet really big because I don't think I'm ever getting him to fold a queen. So if I thought maybe I could fold that, I should go all in. But maybe he even has an ace that very likely could be slow playing since I'm not scared of anything. I'm hoping maybe I'll just bluff. So I'm just targeting things worse than a queen, king high, maybe even jack high that's super sticky, or small pocket pairs. I make it $60, and I get snap called by queen deuce of hearts. So yeah, he got sticky pre-flop and flop, and it works out for him since he turned a full house, and he just let us bluff, and that gets us into red anyways. Sometimes bluff don't work. Let's just move on. 5 deuce off, queen 10 off, 5-4 suited. Again, butt straddle is going on in early position. These small suited connectors aren't doing great, so I let it go. 3 deuce suited, now the big blind pocket 7, 3 limpers, $30. They all fold. While we get through some garbage, I want to let you know that I got a Discord group going on that is super active. A lot of poker players, grinders from San Diego and other areas. We talk about poker, talk about content, talk about lifestyle. So if you want to join in, just hang out. If you want some feedback on hands, I'll leave the link in the description. And as well, if you could show some love, like, comment, and subscribe, because yeah, I'm trying to make a profit out of these videos so it doesn't all come from poker, and your interaction helps that happen. And now we hear the amazing news that a must move 2-5 is opening up. So let's rack up and head over there. We ended up down $75. That's mostly from unsuccessful bluffs. Is what it is. And anyways, let's just move over there. We head over to the table, get our favorite seat as we did in the previous table. That is number 7, add on to be at $1,000. And the beauty of 2-5, we got bomb pots as well, and we usually start the game with those. So first hand is going to be one of those, but I got 5 ace jack 7. Looks pretty-ish, but we completely miss. So when someone bets, we let it go. Jack 10 off. And that is it on this table, because now that a must move is open, someone left in the main game. So we got to rack up and head over to that table. Sadly, we don't get our favorite seat, so the view isn't the best, but we will move once someone leaves. And yeah, we get through a little bit of garbage to get started. And I want to let you know, if you want to play poker, I recommend Ignition. That's the one I always play on, and I stream on Sundays. If you haven't played there yet, you get a 3K welcome bonus. I'll leave the link in the description. And as well, of course, if you use that link, you'll support me, because I benefit financially if you use that link and make an account and make a deposit. And anyways, time for another bomb pot that we got 3-3-8-7. That does not hit, so when someone bets, we let it go. 6-4 off, queen jack off, ace-3 off. Now in the low jack with pocket jacks. No action though, so it's going to make it $15. Everybody folds. Ace-5 off, ace-6 off, and ace-5 off. All right, well, this has been super boring so far, especially for Saturday night. But it's what it is. That's just poker sometimes. Down a little bit, but nothing really crazy, especially for 2-5 and bomb pots. And yeah, and they played a lot more 1-3 than I expected. Usually get to 2-5 really quick. It was just one game, and it took forever for someone to leave. But at least we're in there now. Got an hour and a half to go. So with the bomb pots and 2-5, decent game. Plenty can happen. So hopefully a little more entertaining second half of the vlog. And yeah, let's get back in there. We head back into the poker room. We buy in, and first hand is 7-5 off. So when someone raises, we let it go. 10-3 suited, king 5 suited, 3 deuce off, jack 8 off, now under the gun with pocket 4s. And yeah, should probably be raising this, but it's a pretty passive game. So let's raise. I make it $15 and get 4 callers. So when I do not flop a set, I check, ends up checking down, and we are no good. So we'll not take that one down. King deuce off. We see a free flop, miss, and fold. Down a small with a premium, ace king off. Under than 2 makes it $15, and we're going to 3-bet. I make it 60, and he calls. Flop is 6-7-6, and this just seemed like a spot. Under than 2, he is a regular, and he could be pretty aggressive and loose. And this was a spot that I thought if I bet here, and he has a straight draw, he has a flush draw, of course, the 6s, he's going to have a lot of raises, and my ace king may be good, so I could go check and more in a check call range and go from there. So I do check, and he does bet $30. And looking back at this and talking with friends about it, definitely with the ace of hearts, it could be a good candidate to check raise, especially when it makes it really small. But in a moment, I saw my ace king may be good here, and this could be c-betting range. So let's see what happens on the turn. I call. Turn is another 6. So, of course, way less likely he has a 6. A lot more likely my ace king is good. And when I check, now he bets $60. And this small size, I just really thought, okay, this is just straight up just pocket pairs, or a 7 or 8s, 9s, maybe 10s, and he's just trying to get value from ace king and get the showdown. So I really didn't think you would ever do this with a 6 or pocket 7s. It just seemed like that. A small pocket pair trying to get value from overcards. So I did think I could be in this spot with aces, kings, queens, jacks. That checks the flop, could pot control a little bit in case he has a 6. And once he bets small twice, I think I'm good. And I'm going to go for a check raise and go for value. So ace, king, I definitely is a good candidate to do it with since we need half bluffs to go with it. So I do check raise to $200. And he's not letting go yet since he does call. River is at 8. So, definitely one of the worst cards I could have thought of because a lot of hands I thought he had was 8s, 9s. But I did think he could even be doing this with a 7s. I think he's going to be calling pretty wide pre-flop. So he could have 7, 8 and a good amount of other ones like A7 suited, King 7 suited, maybe a 7, 9, 7, 10 suited. I've seen him. He could play pretty wide. And, yeah, I don't want to check and get all those to fold. And I do think if I bet here again, it's going to look really strong and this looks like overpairs. And this is a spot that I think, if you're trying to play optimal, GTO, it's just probably an all-in because if you have aces, kings, queens, you want to get all the money in. But when I play live cash, I just don't play that way. I don't play balanced. If I want to get called on the river, I will bet smaller. If I'm bluffing, I will bet bigger because most players don't catch on to that and won't exploit that you're not balanced. This player, though, he is a little more thinking, and I was thinking when you're playing him against more regs, it's kind of what I would think a size is for value. So if I ripped it all in, I thought maybe he would even believe it's more of a bluff because I'm trying to bet really big. And I thought a size that would look like value and wanted to get called would be like 2/3 pot. So that is what I go for. I make it $350. And he does not fold. He does not call either. He rips it all in for $700. And I was really surprised. When he bet small twice, it just looked like a pocket pair or a 7 that was just trying to get value from overcards and protection. But hey, I doubt my ace high is good here, so I do let go. And he shows us pocket 8s. So definitely a pretty shitty river for sure because he rivered full house the second nut. So of course I'm not getting that to fold. He did say that he was going to call even if the 8 didn't come out. So hey, maybe we would have lost a 358 or not. And we had a good amount of outs too to go with it. But anyways, that gets us a good chunk in the hole, over $700. Yeah, bluffs just have not been working today, but that is just how it is sometimes. Let's just focus and move on. We got a bomb pot that we got 7-3-5-9. We dismissed, so we let it go. 9-6 off. Not a cutoff with pocket 3s. I made $15 and the big blind calls. Flop 9-4-7. Checks and just see betting range. I make it $15 and he calls. Turn is a jack. He checks, and this is a spot that I don't think my pocket 3s are good here anymore, but I do think I could get a lot of hands to fold because on these boards, I think they're check raising a lot. If they have sets, they have 2 pairs, especially now on the turn when it gets very draw heavy. So if I bet here and he calls, I think I'd overbet the river a bunch and get a lot of folds because people just fast play too many strong hands and they just end up in the river pretty capped. So let's do it. I make it $40 and once again he calls. River is a king and now he leads for $90. I don't know. It did just look really strong. Just betting, leading on this river. It just seemed like he didn't want it to get checked back and he was trying to get lowest fold equity because that is a strategy. If you think a check raise is going to get a lot of folds, well, you call and you lead the river. And there's not that many draws. Sometimes people lead on rivers when they miss draws. Could be, but this player, I haven't seen him really get out of line at all. And it just seemed like value. I didn't know how strong a value it could be. So in a moment, I do just give up and let it go. And he had King 7, so he river 2 pair. So yeah, definitely not the best rivers, but it is what it is. That is poker. And when we get through some garbage, I want to share 2 places to play poker that I really like. First is Ignition Casino. That's when I usually live stream on, and just if I want to grind, I'll play there. It's all anonymous, so it is a pretty soft field pool. and you will get a 3K welcome bonus if you're new there. So I'll leave the link in the description for that. Second place is Clubspoker. Every Tuesday, I have a meetup game over there, and it is a new site. So again, pretty soft games for at least what I've been so far. So I'll leave the link there too. If you want to play with me, I'll be every Tuesday at 5 p.m. is my meetup game on that site. And now it's time for another bomb pot. That King 866. Promising, kind of promising, but we just completely missed, so we let it go. Ace 4 off, King deuce suited on pocket threes and a button, 3 limpers. And 3 limpers, screw it, let's see a cheap flop, I limp. And ends up checking down. Flop is 9, queen 10, turns a deuce, river's a deuce, and we are good. So, tiny pot, but at least something's coming our way. Let's move on to Jack 7 off, King 6 off, 10 deuce off, 3 deuce off, 10 6 off, King 4 off, and now we see a premium pocket kings in the big blind under than 2, but it's small blind limp, so I make it $35 and get under than 2 and button a call. Flop is a overkill. King 6 6, just flopping a full house, second nuts, and yeah, 2 players out of position. I checks to the button, bet $60. And this player is decently tight, so definitely looked really strong. And I have all of the kings. There is one left, of course. So seemed very likely a flush draw or a 6. And what I thought in the moment, if I check raise here and he has a flush draw, it's a paired board. I'm going to look really strong. And he may just fold all of his flush draws. That will definitely be a disaster because if he hits a flush, we get a good amount of money from that. But still, if he has a 6, I want to try to get as much money as possible right now because I don't think he's folding trips. And we don't have to check raise massive. I just make it 3x. I think could still be calling with his flush draws. And there's still a 6. So I still, would have preferred a fast play. But in a moment, I do call other player folds. Turn is an ace. So, may not be bad if he had a nut flush draw. And 6 is probably still betting. But when I check, he checks back. River is an 8. And, I just thought the flop bet was pretty strong 3 ways. This player, so it seemed like a 6. If he had a flush draw, I mean, it doesn't matter. He's going to fold it, but if he has a 6, he's going to call. If he had a king, he may likely call too. I mean, probably not with the ace on the turn. So I'm mostly just targeting 6 here. And if I want to get that to call, I could get pretty big. I make it $225. And he shows us king, queen off for the last king of the deck and folds. So definitely pretty disappointing when you bet on the bigger side on the flop multi-way. Just seemed like I may be able to get a good amount of money out of this pot, but seems like we get out the minimum. And honestly, this player is pretty tight, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just folds to a check raise even with king queen. But anyways, we'll never know since I did go down the slow play in my full house, and we'll take it down. Something is something, but yeah. Little bittersweet. Let's move on. King 3 off. Now it's a time for a bomb pot. 3 deuce, 3 deuce. Yep. We miss and let it go. 4 3 off. 8 5 off. Now king jack off and hijack 2 limpers. I make $25. Then bunting and limpers call. Flop 7 8 4. Yep. So multi-way. I checks around. Turn is 8 under the gun. Bet $65 and I fold. Moving on to king deuce off, king jack suited, but another than 1 under than makes it $30. Tight player, yep, let it go. King 8 off. Now we see the beautiful pocket aces in the big blind. News are better since the cutoff makes it $15. Button calls, small blind calls, and let's 3-bet on the bigger side. I make it $105. Cutoff fulls, button fulls, so not loving it, but the small blind, the player I least expected to call, is the one that does. He calls, so heads up to a flop that looks really nice. Deuce 10 6. So it doesn't get much safer than that. When he checks, I thought mostly double flatting would be a lot of pocket pairs, so definitely could be jacks. And maybe if he has 9s, 8s, he'll call once and let it go. So let's bet okay-ish size, little under half pot. I make it $100, and he shows queen jack suited and lets it go. Now our table gets called for the promotion, so if we get a highest hand, we get to spin the wheel, but our card is a 6 of hearts that you probably expect 9 ways. It's not the highest card, so we do not win it. Next hand, jack 6 suited in the small blind, 9 8 suited in the button. Hijack makes it $15. I call, big blind calls, flop 3 4 queen. He bets $15 and let it go. 10 3 off, king 6 off, king 8 off, king 4 off, and that is it. So yeah, definitely not the best session. Not that I ran really bad, just card dead and no bluff worked out. But that's sometimes poker. I did think about the end of the session, like, yeah, if I probably wouldn't have tried to bluff today, I may just would have broken even. But it is what it is. Bluff gets through. Sometimes they don't. Doesn't mean the bluff was bad. And I do like the ace-king one, honestly. But probably the best would have been ripping the river. That, I mean, being results-oriented, that would have cost me more money. And anyways, I just rack up, cash out, and talk a little more about the session. All right, well, that wasn't fun. Short session, but pretty expensive. At least we ran well towards the end with the aces and the kings to get some of it back. And yeah, it's one of those days that just no bluff got through. I don't know if they're just good or bad spots. I mean, the ace-king one, I just, I don't think he's supposed to be betting small there. He's just saying what he has. There's a small pocket bet. They're trying to get the showdown. And I get value from ace-king, ace-queen from overcards. So I do think I have overpairs in my range in that play. And supposedly he said he was going to call independent of the river, even though he rivered a full house. He said he was going to call. So yeah, just one of the spots, I guess, player dependent too. If he's going to call there with pocket eights, I definitely should not be bluffing, because if the hands I'm trying to bluff he's calling with, yeah, it's not a good spot. But I'm gonna look at that one later. That definitely was interesting, because I 100% think I'm getting most players to fold that hand by doing that line I did. I think I'm getting most players to fold a 9, because this check raising that turn I think looks really strong. And everyone, it was kind of funny because when he folded, everyone was like, no, he had to overpair. He actually said, oh, he could still have ace king, and the other was like, no, he had to overpair, like so certain. That's why at least the other players believe me. But yeah, anyways, don't want to go on too much of a rant. This shitty session this month has been pretty shitty altogether. I'm up, but not that much. So yeah, just been a really swingy months. Just having a good amount over the average or just fucking below. Swingy months. Hopefully we can just run good for a little while and have decent months back to back to back, but that's not what it's been lately. But hey, we're surviving, man. Poker's a grind. To do it for a living is what it is. So yeah, I got tomorrow off. I'll play on Mondays like this of the month, and hopefully October is better than September. And as usual, thank you all for watching. If you can subscribe, like, and comment, I'd highly appreciate it, because I definitely like to stop having this as my main source of income. Playing poker for a living is fucking tiring and exhausting, and honestly, I feel a little burnt out. So that is it. Take tomorrow off, and we'll be back at it on Monday.